What's going on, everybody? LaTroy. And a lot of times I get a lot of questions from people, and they ask me, "How are you so sure? You're walking in your purpose. You're doing this, and you got business, you got ministry. How are you so sure? How do you hear from God?" And I say, simply, really, I'm not really 100% sure, really, of those things all the time that God wants me to do. And that's why, we are called to live by faith, period. And sometimes I hear things and I'm not sure that it is God, but what I do is I weigh those voices, I measure those voices compared to, the word. And I say, okay, God, if this is you, then I'm gonna go forth and I'm gonna do it. If it's the voice is contrary to what God would tell me to do, and I say, okay, definitely this ain't you, God. I know this ain't you. But if it's something that's a good idea and it seemed good, and I believe, I take it as a word from God, and I go after it, and I do it. I try it. That's one thing as a person of faith. You can't be afraid to try things. You can't be afraid to fail. Sometimes you're gonna fail at things. Sometimes you're gonna hit roadblocks, and that's a part of life. Things are going to happen. In James, it tells us that you're going to come against trials and temptations, and you're going to fail sometimes. Sometimes you might have to back up in order to move forward, so I'm not always sure, but one thing is that I'm not afraid. You can't be afraid to go out and try things and do things that's in your heart. You can't be afraid, because if you are afraid, then you're just gonna sit there and be miserable and like, man, I wish I can do this and I wish I can do that. How in the world is he so successful, so prosperous, and how does it seem like he's hearing from God? Me and anybody else, we're no different. God is no respecter of person, but he does respect your faith. He's looking for faith. So you got to be stirred up in faith. You know what I mean? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. So number one, what are you hoping for? Do you have anything in your heart or anything that you believe that God is speaking to you? So I would start there. Find out what it is that God is speaking to you. The way that you can hear the voice of God clear is to sit aside and separate yourself to God. Get in meditation in the Word, and turn some worship and some calming and soothing music on so that you can hear the voice of God, because God, he dwells in a peaceful atmosphere. It ain't about all this chaos and this busyness. You got to slow life down so that you'll be able to hear from God. And once you receive that word from God, go after it. Have faith. Don't be afraid. God is faithful to his word, and he will be faithful to you if you are diligent and you live by faith. You know what I mean? So keep pushing and keep moving.